Ready, everyone. Okay, look at me. Còn thiếu chị đi. Chị ơi. Chị ơi. Rồi, ready chưa? Ready. Look at me. Okay, ready. Remember, look at me and don't smile. Cho luôn. Rồi, cho anh 3 phút để anh mời họ ra.
Run up the sun up if you can get it out of the shade. You better wear the label, right? Okay. I'll find it.
We might make a start soon, so everyone please be seated and we'll get started in a few minutes.
Xin mời tất cả những quý vị còn đứng bên ngoài xin vào trong và chúng ta ngồi những cái ghế còn lại để chương trình buổi lễ được chuẩn bị bắt đầu. Xin cảm ơn.
Nhớ nha con, ghi hát xong đúng cái lúc đó nha con, để cho bên đây con nói xong. Mời, đúng rồi, rồi con mời, không, mời mọi người đứng lên rồi cái phần còn lại, mời mọi người đứng lên rồi chị, dạ biết đó rồi chị biết rồi tụi em biết rồi, dạ, rồi xong rồi con mời mọi người đứng lên, xong cô nói tiếng Việt rồi cô đang mời chị, cái đó là phần tiếng Việt rồi xong rồi con đi trước rồi con giới thiệu MC và ok.
I would like to begin by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people, traditional custodians of the land on which we gather here today, and pay my respects to any elders past, present and emerging here today. And I would like to extend that respect and acknowledgement to any other Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people present here today. My name is John, this is Undao, and we'll be your MCs today. Everyone, please stand up for the national anthems of Australia and the Republic of Vietnam and a minute of silence afterwards. Thank you.
Kính mời tất cả quý vị chúng ta cùng đứng lên và hướng về lá quốc kỳ để chuẩn bị chào cờ Úc Việt và phút mặc niệm. Và đầu tiên xin được mời trưởng nhóm Quốc quân kỳ cựu quân lực Việt Nam Cộng hòa tiểu bang Victoria.
capital. Our home is goodbye sea. Our land of bounty, graciousness, our beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Công dân ơi, quốc gia đến ngày giải phóng, đồng lòng cùng đi hy sinh tiến sĩ tân sống, vì tương lai quân dân cùng sống phá hết tay, làm sao cho núi dòng từ nay luôn vững bền, cho thay vơi trên gương giáo, dù nước ngày mau đào đêm bao, nổi dấu lúc biết phải cần giải nguy, người công dân luôn vững bền tâm trí, hùng tráng quyết chiến đấu, làm cho khắp nơi vang tiếng người lương nam cho đến mùa vận mệnh. Công dân ơi, mau hiếp thân dưới cờ, công dân ơi, mau làm cho cõi bờ hoa cờ, bàn pha thế ta đời sống xứng danh, nghìn năm rực rỡ là thọ.
A minute of silence to commemorate our ancestors, heroes and heroines who sacrificed their lives for our countries. A minute of silence to commemorate all of the Australian and Allied soldiers. A minute of silence to commemorate the Republic of Vietnamese soldiers who sacrificed their lives to defend the freedom of South Vietnam. A minute of silence to commemorate the hundreds, thousands of innocent lives who died in search of freedom when escaping the brutal communist regime. A minute of silence to commemorate human rights activists who have been killed or died in prison or are currently imprisoned by the Vietnamese communist regime. And a minute of silence for those who have lost their battle with COVID.
Một phút mặc niệm để tưởng nhớ các bậc tiền nhân đã có công dựng nước và giữ nước. Phút mặc niệm để tưởng nhớ đến các chiến sĩ quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa và chiến sĩ quân đội đồng minh Úc đã hy sinh vì tự do cho miền Nam Việt Nam. Phút mặc niệm để tưởng nhớ những đồng bào kém may mắn đã hy sinh trên đường vượt biên, vượt thoát chế độ Cộng sản phi nhân. Phút mặc niệm để tưởng nhớ đến các nhà đấu tranh dân chủ đã hy sinh trong các ngục tù của Cộng sản vì nhân quyền Việt Nam. Và phút mặc niệm để tưởng nhớ những nạn nhân đã qua đời trong đại dịch Covid-19 vừa qua. Phút mặc niệm bắt đầu. National anthem and minute of silence finish. Please be seated. Lễ chào quốc kỳ Úc Việt và lễ mặc niệm đã xong. Xin mời quý vị cùng an tọa.
Please welcome Mr. Phong Nguyen, Chairperson of the Vietnamese Museum Australia, to give a welcome message and acknowledge any distinguished guests present here today.
Chúng tôi xin quý vị cho một tràng pháo tay để chào đón ông Phong Nguyễn là Chủ tịch của Viện Bảo tàng Người Việt Tự do Úc Châu. Xin quý vị chào đón ông.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the board of the Vietnamese Museum, Australia, I would like to welcome the ministers or the MPs, who representing our Prime Minister, who representing our Premier, who representing our opposition leaders in the state, and all the councillors, the mayors of the city of Maribyrnong, all the other councillors from other councils. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once and all to all of you here today. We are very lucky because the weather hold up very well and we get out of COVID. That is just perfect timing. And so for that, we got a lot to be thankful for. And I would like to now formally welcome all of you and particularly welcome our distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, we would like to welcome the mayor of the city of Maribyrnong. We also welcome all the councillors. The list was so long, so I think I may be under the hot sun. Probably I should shorten it a bit. So welcome mayor, welcome all the councillors from our neighbouring, and congratulations to all new councillors, particularly the Vietnamese councillors who've been elected. Could you put your hand together, particularly for them? We got 7 councillors successfully won this election in Melbourne, Victoria. So the Vietnamese, and we're very proud of them. We also welcome particularly the Honourable Ross Spence, Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Community Sport, Youth, representing the Premier of Victoria today. We also welcome Mr. Bon Nguyen, the President of both the national and state presidents of our community in Victoria and in Australia. We welcome Councillor Michael Clark, the Mayor of the City of Maribyrnong, and Councillor Cook Lam, particularly who was a former mayor of the Maribyrnong, who was very much supportive and be part of the responsible for our winning the land here today. We also acknowledge the presence of Mr. Tim Watt, federal member for Gellibrand, representing the Honourable Anthony Albanese, leader of the opposition. Ms. Katie Ho, MP member for Footscray. We welcome Mr. Neil Angus, MP State member for Forest Hill, Shadow Minister for Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs, Shadow Minister for Consumer Affairs, Shadow Assistant Treasurer, Mr. Neil Angus. We welcome, and we also welcome our very good friend, Honourable Bernie Finn, member for Western Metropolitan, Shadow Assistant Minister for Small Business and Autism. Ms. Viv Nguyen, Chairperson of the VMC, Dr. Tien Kieu, MLC for Southeastern Metropolitans, Mr. Dinh Nguyen, President of the Vietnamese Veteran Association, Victoria, Father President, Mr. Peter Nguyen Hong Ki, and also a special doctor today who is a great supporter of community, Dr. Tai Thi Trung Nguyet. We also, ladies and gentlemen, we have the list of all the all the representatives from our organization. That you can see the Vietnamese Women Association group from our community. We also got the veterans who have done us proud with their very beautiful and very solemn flag raising ceremony there. Ladies and gentlemen, we also welcome the board and the members of the Vietnamese holding Andrew Doe and also his fellow board members. I hope that I have mentioned all the VIPs on the list. Of course, we also want to acknowledge, I think, Councillor Jasmine Nguyen, Deputy Mayor of City of Brisbane, and Jonathan Lee from Partner for Concept, who designed our beautiful museum, and his partners and other partners in his firm. We also welcome Councillor George Andrews Jorge, Councillor for Maribyrnong Council, and of course, I think Luke Donnellan, the Honourable Luke Donnellan, I think is on the list, but I haven't seen him yet. That is the Minister for Disability, Aging and Carers. And of course, that is basically, I hope that I haven't forgot, number of other councillors. Mr. Peter Nguyen, the President of Footscray Asian Business Association. We got Mr. Tung Liu, Councillor from City of Brisbane. We got, yes, basically, I hope that is the list. So ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the board, on behalf of all the volunteers, our hardworking volunteer, and our designer, our construction team, and the whole team of the VMA, we are so proud, and we are so grateful that you spend your day here with us on this very momentous occasion. So welcome you all. And please, I've got an apology to make because of the program. Some of the minister and few other MPs have to go early, so therefore we have break some protocols. So if you found that the protocol was being breached, that's all my fault. All the organizers' fault. Please understand the ministers and all, they have to go early. So once again, welcome you all. Thank you.
Now please observe the land dedication ceremony, who will be led by Phong Nguyen.
Thưa quý vị, mời quý vị theo dõi lễ cáo tế dân đất do Ban Tế Tổ Đền thờ Quốc tổ hành lễ.
Khẩn văn dân đất Viện Bảo tàng Người Việt Tự do Úc Châu. Hôm nay là ngày 12 tây tháng 12 năm 2020, nhằm ngày 28 tháng 10 năm 2020 âm lịch, tại thành phố Maribyrnong, tiểu bang Victoria, nước Úc. Địa điểm hành lễ 220 Barclay Street, Footscray. Chúng con Nguyễn Thế Phong, Chủ tịch Quản trị Đền thờ Quốc tổ, kiêm Chủ tịch Hội đồng Quản trị Viện Bảo tàng Người Việt Tự do Úc Châu, cùng ông Nguyễn Văn Bon, Chủ tịch Cộng đồng Người Việt Tự do Úc Châu và Cộng đồng Người Việt Tự do tiểu bang Victoria, hiệp cùng các hội đoàn, đoàn thể và đồng bào Việt Nam tại Victoria, nhân ngày dâng hiến đất của Viện Bảo tàng hôm nay, thành tâm dâng lễ tạ ơn, cầu bình an và cầu xin mọi việc thành công suôn sẻ cho công trình xây dựng Viện Bảo tàng quy mô đầu tiên của cộng đồng người Việt tự do Úc Châu và hải ngoại. Chúng con lòng thành sửa biện đèn nhang, hoa trái lễ vật, dâng lên trước bàn thờ Quốc tổ, thổ địa linh thần, cúi xin oai linh Đức Quốc tổ, anh linh các bậc anh hùng liệt nữ, thổ địa linh thần vùng đất này, anh linh của tổ tiên ông bà cha mẹ của các thành viên trong cộng đồng người Việt tự do, anh linh hậu thần hậu hiền trong cộng đồng người Việt tự do, anh linh các chiến sĩ quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa và đồng minh, anh linh các đồng bào đã hy sinh trên đường vượt biên, vượt biển, vượt thoát chế độ cộng sản phi nhân. Xin chứng tri, đón nhận, chúc phúc cho mảnh đất này mà cộng đồng người Việt tị nạn chúng con đã mua được từ Hội đồng thành phố Maribyrnong để xây dựng Viện Bảo tàng Người Việt Tự do Úc Châu. Xin gia ân phò hộ cho công trình xây dựng và gây quỹ của chúng con sớm được hoàn tất, để anh linh chư vị được muôn thế hệ tôn thờ. Lịch sử dân Việt tị nạn được trung thực lưu truyền và lòng tri ân đối với nước Úc ân nhân được vĩnh viễn khắc ghi. Xin ban cho cộng đồng chúng con được bền tâm vững chí, tâm đồng ý hợp, đoàn kết keo sơn, đóng góp tích cực cho công cuộc xây dựng Viện Bảo tàng thiêng liêng này. Toàn thể cộng đồng chúng con thành tâm khấn nguyện tận cáo.
Now we would like to welcome the Honourable Ros Spence MP, Minister for Multicultural Affairs, Community Sport and Youth, representing the Premier Victoria, Daniel Andrews.
Thưa quý vị, chúng tôi xin quý vị cho một tràng pháo tay để chào đón bà dân biểu Ros Spence, Bộ trưởng Đa văn hóa sự vụ, Bộ Thể dục Thể thao và Thanh thiếu niên, sẽ đại diện cho Thủ hiến Victoria.
Thank you, and Good afternoon, everyone. Before I begin, could I please acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting and pay my respects to elders past and present. And can I also acknowledge all of the distinguished guests that are here today. I won't go through the list that we've already heard, but to all of the members of Parliament, the councillors that are here, the valued community members, welcome, and I acknowledge everyone here. I'm incredibly grateful to be invited to be here to mark this special occasion. It's really wonderful to be able to do this in person and to see so many distinguished colleagues and guests present here today. 2020 certainly hasn't been the year that any of us could have expected. However, even with the challenges that this year has presented, Victorians have made a really positive and remarkable effort in overcoming these challenges, making it even more special that we're able to gather here today and mark this significant milestone. And what we've seen is a truly beautiful ceremony this morning, and I'm incredibly honoured to have been able to be here and share that with everyone. Victoria is home to more than 100,000 people of Vietnamese ancestry. Our Vietnamese community is significant in its size, but more importantly, it has made a significant contribution to the fabric of our multicultural society. We know that there are an extraordinary number of stories to tell about those many and varied journeys from Vietnam to Victoria. The stories of all Victorians, who we are and how we have come to be here, are such a crucial part of our state's history. It makes us who we are as individuals and as community members, and it contributes to the social fabric of the vibrant and diverse state that we are so proud of. The vision of the Vietnamese Museum of Australia to gather and recount the many incredible journeys of Vietnamese Australians is sure to help many reconnect, to preserve and to learn about their heritage. It will also be a place of learning and understanding for all Victorians. We believe that dedicated, culturally diverse spaces, such as the Vietnamese Museum, are important for sharing and for celebrating culture. Our government believes that Victoria's diversity is one of our state's greatest strengths. We're proud that Victorians come from more than 200 countries. We speak over 260 languages. We follow 135 different faiths. Our state is home to something truly special. No matter who you are, where you were born, or the language that you first spoke, here in Victoria you can belong. And that's why the Victorian Government is proud to be a long-time supporter of this project, which is reflected in our significant investment of almost $4.5 million. This funding will contribute towards commemorating the incredible stories and history of our Vietnamese community and sharing it with the broader Victorian community. I'm truly grateful to be here today, and I extend my sincere thanks to the Vietnamese community in Australia and the Vietnamese Museum Australia Board. I'm sure that this site will be a place of learning and a place to share culture and tradition for many generations. I look forward to seeing it come to life in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rose Pence.
Now, we would like to welcome Mr. Bon Nguyen, President of the Vietnamese Community in Australia and President of the Vietnamese Community Australia Victorian Chapter.
Thưa quý vị, chúng tôi xin quý vị một tràng pháo tay để chào đón ông Nguyễn Văn Bôn, Chủ tịch Cộng đồng Người Việt Tự do Liên bang, kiêm Chủ tịch Cộng đồng Người Việt Tự do Tiểu bang Victoria sẽ có vài lời gửi đến quý vị.
Can I first acknowledge the traditional owner of the land and pay my respect to both the elders past and present and the emerging leaders, and of course the organizer, Mr. Phong Nguyen, the chair of the VMA, which is the Vietnamese Museum in Australia, and also his team as well. And of course, I would like to acknowledge our distinguished guests as well. First of all, our mayor, Mr. Michael Clark, and of course the parliamentarians. Can I go with the ministers? Ross Spence, the Honourable Ross Spence. When I mentioned her, I cannot actually get away without mentioning the support that you provided during the COVID-19, the $50,000 that you actually provided to support our community, and of course, being in the opposition, they have always ring us up and consult with us and said, hey, is there anything that we can help you as well? So thank you as well. That will go to Liberals as well. So never before on this point here that I want to say that never before that I feel very proud and very connected as an Australian. This is the first time that I see that beyond political boundaries, you have put aside and bring all Australia together to actually to shoulder with the crisis. So I would like to acknowledge that. And of course, our parliamentarian ministers, Luke Donnellan, who's always here with us, Shadow Ministers, Neil Angus, Shadow Ministers, actually Mr. Benefin, and MP Ms. Natalie Sulemans, and Dr. Kiều Tiến Dũng. And I would like to welcome to all of you as well. Of course, our Vietnamese leaders, religious leaders, and leaders of the organization, and representatives of the media as well, and my fellow Vietnamese and Australians. Can I first thank you, Mr. Phong Nguyen and the VMA team for allowing me to speak on this special occasion. As you know that in Vietnamese, anything that we do or we say, or the way we work, the way we speak, the way that we greet you, it needs to be reflected culturally. Or even the food we eat, it also needs to be reflected culturally as well. Forgive me, I forgot to mention the councillors. And the councillor, of course, the most important is actually there's many of our councillors actually has been elected this year as well. Going back to the culture appropriate. Mr. Tim Watts, of course, from the Federal, my apologies, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just all over the places here. It's just that I am actually so pleased to see you being actually in isolation for a long time. It is actually my absolutely pleased and honor to have seen you safe and sound and be here with us as well. So thank you. Going back to the culture appropriate, of course in the Vietnamese, when we do anything that is actually as big as this magnitude, we always, as you have seen, Phong, have seek our blessing from our ancestors. Same thing goes well when we do anything this big. We need to base on 3 factors: thiên thời, địa lợi, nhân hòa. I would have problems to translate that into English, but let me just say this: thiên thời is actually the natural time frame. Địa lợi, that means that Earth, the location, Earth. Nhân hòa, that's actually harmonies among human beings. So if I'm not sure Phong can correct me on that, but that's where I think. You see, thiên is heaven, địa is earth, nhân is us, human. So that's are the 3 elements that we always need to meet before we do anything of this magnitude. As you know, after 1975, we left our country, and today, this year, is our 45th anniversary of settlement in Australia. But when you look at us, you have seen the community have successfully integrated and settled in Australia. But how many of us really understand what are the story behind those Vietnamese refugees? What are the story behind your fellow Australians? I'm sure that many of you would know, but it would be more obvious if we could actually have it in some shape or form that actually reserve that and exhibit that. When we talk about time, it is our 45 years. When we left our Vietnam, this is time frame. When we left our Vietnam, we bring a lot of those history with us. And the moment that we become Australia, we are your fellow Australian. And part of that history is automatically become Australian history as well. So since we settle in Australia, we feel our nation, we create opportunity for our younger generation to explore and to open doors for them, more doors for them in towards their future in Australia. But also there's a sense of actually reserving our culture. Right, so we have been working really hard in actually trying to establish the museum. I remember that during our 31st anniversary, we will have an exhibition in the Melbourne City Town Hall, where Mr. Joe Likakis approached us and said, Bon, you have a lot of actually photos and also artifacts and that kind of things. If in the future, please come and see us. And I think that the team, the Vietnamese community in Australia, in Victoria in particular, has been working very hard in trying to, and we said work hard doesn't mean that we actually working with one political party. We understand that the culture should be enjoyed by all Australia, not just one political party or the other political party. And that has been working very hard. And eventually, it was actually some breaking news that we got the land and we got the funding from the state government and the federal government. That was all very good. And also that is actually a very good stepping stones into our 45th anniversaries. Next thing we found that we were in isolation with coronavirus. We had everything that's lined up, but then coronavirus. That adding not just the complication for the Vietnamese community, but all government globally are meeting their challenges as well, including our government in Australia and Victoria here as well. So that's so much of the time frame for you. And we talk about DLI, which is location. The location in Maribyrnong here, it's actually tied up to a very good historical tie to the Vietnamese refugees in Australia. We came to Australia, we actually set the foundation, we set the culture, the food, and all the kind of things that in Footscray. Not that long ago, we have the plaza called Saigon Plaza. That's actually tied very well. So the location is actually very, very good. The location is actually, could be the best location for us. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just a sign that I just spoke too much. In the program, every one of us have 5 minutes, but they forgot to include that I'm a Vietnamese, and therefore I have the extra 5 minutes as well. So I'll borrow that 5 minutes from the Vietnamese, and I won't be speaking in Vietnamese. So as you can see, the location is actually in Australia, and in Victoria, in Footscray here. It's actually very tied up very well. Nhân hòa, which in harmonies among our people. Okay. Before COVID-19, we were talking to business leaders in our communities. In Victoria here, we talked to religious leaders, organization leaders, business leaders in our community. We talked to leaders in other states as well, and overseas as well. We pretty much got our funding secure. We got our funding secure. Then COVID came. Our business in Victoria here or Australia, we are actually from SMA, which is small to medium enterprise. We were mainly affected by. So I think talking about Nhân hòa, which is human harmonies, I think that we certainly have encountered challenges here in terms of raising our fund. We want to put it out there because we are your fellow Australian. What you see is what you get, and the problem that we have, we want to share that with you as well. However, we did have indication before COVID-19. We did have indication from at least 2 entrepreneurs in Victoria that's substantial, up to over 6 million of donation, and we have that commitment overseas as well. That have seen met with some difficulties at the moment. Those are the difficulties that we are meeting due to COVID-19. But I'm sure ministers and government officials, parliamentarians, and my fellow Vietnamese, I think if these 3 elements tied together, I think Nhân hòa is actually the most important element, and that is actually unity. If we are able to bring, doesn't matter what belief we have, we might have a different ideas or differences, but if we can bring them all together, I'm sure that's building the museum. It's something that it's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. I know that there are challenges, but at the end of those challenges, you will find some reward. And the rewarding things would be is we will get our museum established here, where our history, our culture will be reserved and shared with our other Australian, fellow Australians as well. So with that, I wish you all the best and wish you into a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bon Nguyen. Now we would like to invite Councillor Michael Clark, Mayor of the City of Maribyrnong, and Councillor Guk Lam, former Mayor and supporter of the project.
Và bây giờ chúng tôi xin được trân trọng kính mời ông Michael Clark, thị trưởng thành phố Maribyrnong, sẽ lên có vài lời cũng như sẽ trao đổi hợp đồng bán đất cho Viện Bảo tàng. Đồng thời mời nghị viên bà Cúc Lâm, cựu thị trưởng thành phố Maribyrnong nhiệm kỳ 2017-2018, và bà cũng là người hỗ trợ rất nhiều cho dự án này. Xin quý vị chào đón bằng một tràng pháo tay.
Xin chào. And good afternoon, everyone. I have the pleasure of standing here as the Mayor of Maribyrnong. I'm Michael Clark, and on behalf of myself and the Mayoress, Mary Dowling, welcome to the Vietnamese Museum's Australia, a Land of Hope land dedication ceremony.
Thưa quý vị, tôi xin tạm dịch lại cho ông thị trưởng Michael Clark, ông và phu nhân đến đây ngày hôm nay để tham dự cái buổi hiện diện ngày hôm nay. Yeah.
Firstly, friends, I would like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Kulin Nation. We offer our respects to the elders of these traditional lands and through them to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, past, present and emerging.
Trước hết tôi muốn công nhận một điều sau, chúng ta đang sống trên mảnh đất truyền thống của quốc gia Kulin. Chúng tôi gửi lời kính trọng tới những vị niên trưởng của những mảnh đất truyền thống này, và qua những vị này tới tất cả những người thổ dân và người đảo Torres Strait Islander của quá khứ cũng như hiện tại.
Friends, because this is history being made today, and let's have no doubt about it, today is the beginning of the formal acknowledgement of the phenomenal contribution of the Vietnamese community. In that context, I am going to acknowledge the special guests, because friends, as you sit here today, you are part of a history, Australian history. Regardless of political persuasion, regardless of ethnic origin, we sit here together as Australians, together. Friends, I want to acknowledge my old friend Bernie Frynn, MP, Scott Ryan, the Honourable, the local member for Footscray, Katie Hall, the Honourable Neil Angus, MP, a very old friend of mine, Natalie Suleiman, MP, another old mate, Mr. Luke Donnellan, MP, the Honourable Ross Spence, thank you so much, Minister, for being available today, Mr. Tim Watts, our federal member for Jellybrand, Mr. Tien Kieu, MP, welcome Tien, Senator David Van, Mr. Andrew Doe, Chairman of the Vietnamese Museum Holding, Ms. Viv Nguyen, an old friend, Chairperson of the Victorian Multicultural Commission, Mr. Din Nguyen, President of the Vietnamese Association of Victoria. I've got to acknowledge a very old mate of mine, Bon Nguyen, President of the Vietnamese community in Australia. My fellow councillors, Councillor Sarah Carter, Councillor Bernadette Thomas, Councillor Simon Crawford, Councillor Jorge Hojera, my very good friend, Cook Lam, a friend to us all, and I want to acknowledge the Deputy Mayor of the City of Maribyrnong, Mr. Anthony Tran, another young man of Vietnamese origin. There's also a gentleman here who has been an absolute champion, a stalwart of the Vietnamese community Friends, I want to acknowledge former MP for Footscray, Mr. Bruce Mildenhall. Bruce, fantastic that you're here.
Wait. Yeah, thành thật cảm ơn tất cả quý vị đã mời ông đến đây cũng như ngồi sự hiện diện ngày hôm nay. Đó là một thành phần của Viện Bảo tàng của người Việt ở Úc Châu và là một mảnh đất quê hương. Trong một lễ trong một cái buổi lễ dân đất này thì tôi sẽ không lặp lại tất cả những quý vị quan khách ngày hôm nay.
Friends, today we stand here, we sit here together in the heat, but we sit here together and we make history, and we make history together. Here in the West, we have a vibrant, strong and diverse multicultural community, and it's a community inclusive of people from a very wide range of backgrounds.
Okay. Chúng ta ngồi hôm nay, ngồi trong một buổi thật là nóng ngày hôm nay, nhưng mà cái sự hiện diện ở hôm nay ở miền Tây thì chúng ta là có một cái cộng đồng đa văn hóa, sinh động, mạnh mẽ và đa dạng, bao gồm những người dân đến từ rất nhiều nguồn gốc văn hóa khác nhau.
Friends, we have a range of cultural attractions such as the little Saigon Market Precinct with its magnificent welcome arch. We have the Quang Minh Temple and a vast array of authentic authentic Vietnamese cuisines available in Footscray. Friends, I want to acknowledge with the Quang Minh Temple that soon we will be able to celebrate the new Lunar New Year, and together we can say Chúc Mừng Năm Mới together soon enough.
Nơi đây cũng là có rất nhiều những địa điểm văn hóa hấp dẫn như là khu chợ Little Saigon và cổng chào Welcoming Art lộng lẫy, chùa Quang Minh, và có rất nhiều các nhà hàng và các món ăn thuần túy Việt Nam ở Footscray. Và trong gần đây thì chúng ta sẽ tham gia cũng như tham dự những cái buổi của chùa Quang Minh tổ chức.
Today's event marks an important milestone in enhancing our multicultural roots, our multicultural complexion. Most importantly, friends, our strong Vietnamese community is well represented with the construction of the first ever Vietnamese museum here in Australia, and most importantly, here in Footscray.
Sự kiện ngày hôm nay đánh dấu một mối lịch sử làm nổi bật chính sách đa văn hóa và sự lớn mạnh của cộng đồng người Việt với việc bắt đầu xây dựng một viện bảo tàng của người Việt đầu tiên chưa từng có ở nước Úc và được xây dựng ngay tại đây ở Footscray.
The new Cultural and Heritage Centre will be revolutionary. It will showcase the depth of Vietnamese history, Vietnamese culture, and hopefully it will show the future of Vietnam's contribution here in Australia, right here again in Footscray.
Trung tâm mới về văn hóa và di sản này sẽ là một trung tâm có tính cách hoàn toàn mới mẻ và là một hiển thị sâu xa của nền lịch sử văn hóa của người Việt ở tiểu bang Victoria và trên toàn nước Úc ở tại vùng Footscray.
It will be a welcome gathering place for our local Vietnamese community, one of the largest in Greater Melbourne, and a draw card to Maribyrnong for visitors right across the country, in fact, right across the world.
Trung tâm này cũng là một nơi tụ họp của cộng đồng người Việt ở địa phương. Một cái viện bảo tàng này một trong những cộng đồng lớn nhất của thành phố Melbourne và cũng là nơi lôi cuốn những khách đến thăm từ khắp nơi trong nước.
Council unanimously passed the resolution at the Ordinary Council meeting in August for this land to become home of the first Vietnamese museum in Australia.
Hội đồng thành phố Maribyrnong đã nhất trí thông qua nghị quyết này trong buổi họp thông thường của Hội đồng thành phố trong tháng 8 để miếng đất này trở thành địa điểm xây dựng của Viện Bảo tàng đầu tiên của người Việt ở Úc Châu.
You know, this resolution is very much in line with the Maribyrnong tourist visitation strategy. And this strategy highlights the potential we see to boost tourism in our local economy by offering memorable experiences to visitors and keep these visitors coming back. I have to say, friends, it is the Vietnamese community It's been the Vietnamese entrepreneurship that has brought Footscray to what it is today, a vibrant multicultural place, and ensures that Footscray will be a vibrant multicultural economy going forward into the future.
Nghị quyết này cũng phù hợp với chiến lược khuyến khích du lịch và khách đến thăm của Hội đồng thành phố Maribyrnong. Đây là một dẫn chứng cho thấy tiềm năng nâng cao ngành du lịch của nền kinh tế địa phương qua việc đem lại những kinh nghiệm đáng lưu nhớ cho các khách đến thăm Hội, giúp họ mong muốn trở lại nhiều lần nữa. Đặc biệt nhất là cộng đồng Việt Nam của chúng ta, cộng đồng đã đem đến cho cái thành phố Footscray Maribyrnong nổi bật và phồn thịnh như ngày hôm nay.
I very much look forward to watching this groundbreaking project come to life, and for our wider community to be able to share in what is an integral part of Vietnamese history and culture. Friends, on behalf of the city of Maribyrnong and the community of Maribyrnong, thank you all.
Tôi rất mong muốn trông chờ được chứng kiến lễ động thổ của dự án này và để cộng đồng rộng lớn của chúng ta có thể cùng chia sẻ vào một phần cần thiết của lịch sử và văn hóa của người Việt. Và ở tại vùng Footscray này, đại diện cho tất cả dân của Hội đồng thành phố Maribyrnong này, thành thật cảm ơn tất cả quý vị.
Friends, can we just acknowledge my council colleague and former mayor of the great city of Maribyrnong, Councillor Cook Lamb.
Could we just ask the President, Mr. Phong Nguyen, for VMA to come over here to receive that official, this is a token of the contract of sale. Yeah, the mayor can hand over to it. It's a symbol.
This is in my hand, the contract of sale of this property on Barclay Street 20, part of 2020 Barclay Street, Footscray, from the Maribyrnong City Council to the Vietnamese Museum, Australia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Jean. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's very emotional. I won't repeat all the VIPs here today, which previous guest speaker already mentioned, and the VMC presidents. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank the VMA board for inviting me and allowing me to have a few words at this momentous and historical occasion. I would like to acknowledge we are on traditional land of the Kulin Nation. We offer our respect to the elders of these traditional lands and through them to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, past and present. Today, dedication of the land and paying tribute to Australia have had a profound impact on me as a former Vietnamese refugee and now as a brown councillor and a citizen of this wonderful country that we all call home, Australia. Arriving to Australia more than 40 years ago as a refugee and in the refugee camp in Pulau Tangga in Malaysia. Today also my son Andrew Lam is here and his fiancée here today to see that, to witness that is how when I arrived here that all my children were born here. When I arrived here in Malaysia, from Malaysia, in the refugee camp with nothing but the red suitcase and a huge gratitude toward to the people and government of Australia, I vowed to myself that I will dedicate my life to repay Australia for what they had so generously given to me, my family, and the Vietnamese people, that was freedoms. This solemn promise has been the driving force behind my volunteering in the community more than 30 years ago and leading me to get involved in the local government and the councillor for the last, this is my third term as 8 years. The biggest highlight of my life had been being elected the mayor of the city of Maribyrnong and helping to find the land for the Vietnamese community in Australia to build its first museum in Maribyrnong in the same year. For me to be a part of and play a small role as a mayor and a councillor in the biggest gift my Vietnamese community could offer to future generations of the Vietnamese Australians and the Australian people. Which is a museum is the greatest honor for former refugees like me could achieve and dream of. I am so proud to be here, to be invited as a special guest here today and given an opportunity to have a few words on this historical occasion. To the board of the VMAs, the executive committee of the VCA, Vietnamese Community of Australia and Victoria chapter, please accept my heartfelt congratulations on your success in obtaining the land for the museum. All the very best with your effort in raising funds for completing the project in the coming years. Today here, we also offer people who will come from, regardless where you're coming from, you can purchase the bricks here and your name will be engraved forever at the VMA. So please do, and I believe that the mayor only purchased 2, and I did too. I bought 2 for what? Okay, so wishing you and your families a very safe and Merry Christmas and a much happier New Year in 2021 with the COVID-free and the year of the ox. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Jay.
Mr. Bon Nguyen would like to send an apology for forgetting to acknowledge Miss Katie Hall MP. And now I would like to read a message from Senator the Honourable Scott Ryan.
Thưa quý vị, và bây giờ thì MC Xuân Cường sẽ đọc thơ nhắn của Thượng nghị sĩ Scott Ryan. Xin quý vị cùng cho em một tràng pháo tay.
I am delighted to extend my congratulations to the Victorian chapter of the Vietnamese community in Australia and the wider Vietnamese community for today's ceremony for Australia's first Vietnamese Australian Museum to be constructed here in Footscray with the support of the Commonwealth Government. The Vietnamese community in Australia have a remarkable story to tell, fleeing persecution and starting again with little more than a passion for freedom and family. You have become an integral part of the Australian story. Our city, our country are unimaginable without the contribution of Vietnamese Australians. And this museum will tell that story so that all Australians may share in it. It has been a pleasure to be able to work with supporters of the project and to see this critical step. I am sorry I'm not able to be in Melbourne today to join you to celebrate this milestone, but please accept my congratulations and very best wishes. Scott Ryan. And now we would like to invite Mr. Tim Watts MP, Federal Member for Gellibrand, representing the Honourable Anthony Albanese MP, Leader of the Opposition.
Và bây giờ chúng tôi xin được trân trọng giới thiệu ông Tim Watts, dân biểu liên bang khu vực Gellibrand, đại diện cho ông Anthony Albanese, lãnh tụ đảng đối lập. Xin quý vị chào đón ông bằng một tràng pháo tay.
Thank you. My name is Tim Watts. I'm the Federal Member for Gellibrand. I'd like to start today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we meet, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. Noel Pearson, one of our great Indigenous leaders, gave a speech a couple of years back now where he said that the mission of all modern Australians today is to bring together the three stories that together make up the one story of Australia. And that's the Indigenous foundation of this country, the Westminster institutions that followed, and the multicultural migration more recently that has so enriched our nation. That's the task of nation building today, and I can't think of a better project to represent that than the Vietnamese Museum in Australia. I would acknowledge all of the dignitaries here today and the very dear friends that have been working together on this very important project for so long, but it would take my entire allotted 5 minutes, and as Bon said, I don't get the extra allocation for being a Vietnamese speaker, so I won't acknowledge everyone today, even though there are people that are very dear to me today that I want to recognise their contributions. I could not be happier to be here today launching this for the dedication of land right here in Footscray. There is no more appropriate location for this museum. Some of my colleagues in the Federal Parliament like to lay claim, but we know here that Footscray is the home of the Vietnamese community in Australia, the spiritual home. And Footscray has been transformed, every aspect of life in Footscray has been transformed by the arrival of Vietnamese Australians 45 years ago. From our commerce to our culture to our politics, I am happy to say. And this museum will tell that story and tell that story in a tangible way. It hasn't been a direct path to be here today. It's been the better part of 20 years of work to get here, and those of you in the audience know that it was a circuitous route. It was a path that took a lot of perseverance, a lot of persistence from everyone here. But I can't tell you how happy I am that we are now moving into the stage of this project, not just being an idea, not just being the passion and commitment of the community, but being a reality. And I have to say, Bon was talking before about the Diet Lai, is that right? The location, making that important. I couldn't be happier with the location that we have finally landed on, because while the contract of sale says that this location is on Barclay Street, in my own heart, I tell everyone that it's actually on Donald Street, because that is where I live, just around the corner. And I walk past here every day on the way to my electorate office in Footscray. And the Diet Lai is auspicious, because not only will you have a federal member of parliament championing the cause of the Vietnamese community in Australia in parliament, but you will also have a voluntary site inspector as I monitor the progress of the construction of this site totally voluntarily on behalf of all of you. I'm really looking forward to seeing it develop in the years to come, and I'm even more so looking forward to standing where we are now in a fully completed Vietnamese Museum of Australia at many, many events into the future, telling the story of the extraordinary contribution of the Vietnamese community in Australia to our nation. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Tim Watts. And now we would like to welcome Ms. Katie Hall MP, member for Footscray.
Và bây giờ chúng tôi xin trân trọng mời bà Katie Hall, dân biểu khu vực Footscray. Xin quý vị chào đón bà bằng một tràng pháo tay.
Xin chào. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land and the elders past, present and emerging, the people of the Boon Wurrung and Wurundjeri people, for which the Maribyrnong River and its valley was a very important place, and it remains so. I'm thrilled to be here today, and the Vietnamese community have a very long and proud history in Footscray, and I feel, as Tim was reflecting, this is a natural location for such an incredible institution, the Vietnamese Museum, which will tell the stories of the Vietnamese diaspora coming to Australia and the journey that many people have been on. And it's a journey I can't begin to understand. Almost 50 years ago, and it's something that we live every day here in Footscray, and my children have grown up knowing how to order their favourite banh mi and their favourite bowl of pho, and it seems like the perfect place to have the museum here in Footscray. Vietnamese Australians have contributed so much to Victoria, and it's only fitting that we have a place to celebrate your achievements. And hopefully by the 50th anniversary of the settlement of Vietnamese refugees in Australia, we will have the museum doors open. And I know those people at Maribyrnong Council will get cracking with all of the planning permits that are required. But today's event is titled A Land for Hope, and that's what Australia represented for so many people who needed a safe new home. And Footscray is a place that always welcomes people who need a safe new home. And we're very proud of that. Many waves of migration and refugees have called Footscray home, and it's a place that really lifts people up. And if you ever need a helping hand, you can find it in Footscray. And to that end, I'd like to really acknowledge the work of the Vietnamese community who have supported so many people in this most difficult of years in 2020. I know that you have been delivering culturally appropriate food and supporting people who are in isolation, and I'm very grateful to have that community connection here in Footscray. I won't go on too long. I know that it's very hot out there, but I just wanted to acknowledge and thank Bon Nguyen, the president of the VCA, who has worked so hard, Viv Nguyen before him. This has been a passion project for so many people over so many years, and I remember when the Premier came here a few years ago and announced the Victorian Government's funding and support for this project, and now it feels really real. So congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Katie Hall. And now we would like to have a quick piece of entertainment for a quick break. Please welcome Huy Bảo, who is performing You Raised Me Up.
Và thưa quý vị, bây giờ xin mời quý vị thưởng thức tiếng hát của em Huy Bảo với bài hát You Raised Me Up. Chúng ta có thể tạm dịch là nơi đã nuôi tôi khôn lớn lên. Vâng, thưa quý vị, xin một tràng pháo tay để chào đón tiếng hát của em Huy Bảo.
to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Thank you, Weebow. And now we would like to welcome Mr. Neil Angus MP, State Member for Forest Hill, Shadow Minister for Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs, Shadow Minister for Consumer Affairs and Shadow Assistant Treasurer.
Và bây giờ chúng tôi xin được trân trọng giới thiệu đến quý vị ông Neil Angus, dân biểu khu vực Forest Hills, Bộ trưởng đối lập về quốc tịch và sắc tộc sự vụ. Xin quý vị chào đón ông bằng một tràng pháo tay.
Thank you very much. Well, that's certainly a hard act to follow, so well done, young man. It was fantastic. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It really is a great pleasure to be with you here this afternoon. And I won't also go through the list of many, many distinguished guests here, but I think that reflects the very great importance to the broader community and certainly to the elected representatives locally and further afield of this magnificent project. But I will acknowledge Mr. Von Nguyen, the chairperson of the Vietnamese Museum Australia. So I understand that this project will be called a land of hope, land for hope. And these simple words so succinctly encompass what is an expansive and enlightening journey for many. It is remarkable that this project has been realised in such a short period of time after its conceptualisation. And eventually the Vietnamese Museum will stand as an outstanding tribute to so many involved with this project. The proposed Vietnamese Museum Australia will be a vibrant multicultural hub situated right here in the iconic heart of Footscray in Victoria. It will be a multi-purpose community facility where you'll be able to walk through a journey from the past, see the present and be a part of shaping the future. The museum will aim to shine a light on the outstanding contribution that the Vietnamese community is making, drawing on the power of education, bridging cultural divides. The Vietnamese Museum will join a long tradition of outstanding artistic institutions here in Melbourne, strengthening our international reputation as the nation's cultural capital, home to a diverse and harmonious society. Common to all these institutions, showcasing the heritage of so many of our diverse cultural and faith groups, is the sense of awe they inspire in highlighting the very best of human achievement, and the Vietnamese Museum will be no exception. This project highlights the extraordinary way in which Vietnamese migration has shaped our state and our nation. What is most impressive about this project is the level of support it has received from so many people and bodies, including federal, state and local governments, who have come out in solidarity and offered help where they can. I would like to acknowledge the community leaders and the City of Maribyrnong in particular, who have supported this project for their generosity and goodwill and their spirit of collaboration. The mutual respect demonstrated by your endorsement of this project underscores the remarkable strength of our cohesion and the success of our multiculturalism here in Victoria. I would like to acknowledge and commend the Vietnamese community in Australia, Victorian chapter, and its many volunteers who are selflessly devoting their time and energy to this project, and for coming up with creative and engaging programs that help the broader Victorian community appreciate the stories and personal histories of our Vietnamese community. This project could not have been possible without the hard work and dedication of the Board of Vietnamese Community in Australia Victorian Chapter and its members, and indeed the entire Vietnamese community here in Victoria. For many years, the Vietnamese community in Australia Vic Chapter has provided outstanding service, leadership and collaborative work with the wider community. You are a shining example of a community organisation that fosters intercultural understanding, collaboration and harmony. Your advocacy work does much to build a stronger and more resilient Vietnamese community in Victoria. And it is the hard work of community organisations such as yours which make a significant contribution in promoting diversity here in Victoria. Victoria's Vietnamese community have been great promoters of interfaith and intercultural understanding and harmony. They continue to passionately nurture cultural traditions and have been generous in sharing the rich Vietnamese heritage and faith with the broader Victorian community. Our thriving and active Vietnamese community has always been an enthusiastic part of Victoria's multicultural landscape and continues to make an outstanding contribution to our society across many fields of endeavour. And as such, Victoria's thriving Vietnamese community is indeed a shining example of your community spirit and our successful, diverse society. I particularly commend Victoria's Vietnamese community for its dedication to this project, for its vision and its drive to see it through, and acknowledge the efforts of all those that have and are giving their time and resources for this project. Victoria and indeed Australia wouldn't be what it is today without the enormous contribution of the Vietnamese community. So it is fitting that we'll have this remarkable museum that will pay tribute to this extraordinary contribution. And it is fitting too that we mark these important milestones with events such as today's dedication ceremony. So I again commend all those involved in this project for their considerable achievement. Your hard work and persistence will lead the way in building cross-cultural understanding and respect amongst Victorians of all ages. This is an important legacy and one of which you should be immensely proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neil Angus. And now please welcome the Old Ger dance group who will be performing Ghé Bên Sài Gòn, which can be translated to Visiting Saigon.
Kính thưa quý vị, và một tiết mục khác để cho quý vị có thể thư giãn hơn, chúng tôi xin giới thiệu đến quý vị nhóm múa Âu Cơ sẽ gửi đến quý vị một bài múa được mang tên Ghé Đến Sài Gòn của cố nhạc sĩ Văn Phụng, và bài hát này do thầy Minh Phương đã chỉ đạo bài hát này. Vâng, một tràng pháo tay cho nhóm múa Âu Cơ quý vị ơi.
Sài Gòn, cùng nhau đi tới Sài Gòn, thủ đô yêu dấu nước.
cảm ơn nhóm múa Âu Cơ rất là nhiều. Đẹp quá phải không quý vị? Trong tà áo dài và chiếc nón lá rất là Việt Nam của chúng ta. Một lần nữa xin cảm ơn nhóm múa Âu Cơ.
Thank you, Olga Dance Group. And now we would like to welcome the Honourable Bernie Finn MP, Member for the Western Metropolitan Region and Shadow Assistant Minister for Small Business and Autism.
Và bây giờ chúng tôi xin trân trọng giới thiệu đến quý vị ông Bernie Finn, dân biểu khu vực miền Tây, Bộ trưởng đối lập về tiểu thương và bệnh tự kỷ. Xin quý vị chào đón ông bằng một tràng pháo tay.
Thank you very much indeed to Phong, to Bon, and to so many friends here today, including the new mayor. Talk about a comeback, the biggest comeback for 2,000 years, I reckon. But it's great to see Michael Clark back here today as mayor, and of course my good friend Neil Angus, the shadow minister, and Trung Lu, a new councillor at Brimbank. Great to see you also, Trung, as well as Cook, and a number of other friends here today. It is absolutely delightful to be here. This is a very, very exciting day because not only are we getting to the end of what has been a very, very testing year, not only has summer arrived at last, but at long last we have seen today the beginnings of what is going to be a very, very exciting event in Footscray, a very, very exciting monument, a living monument I might say to the Vietnamese community. It's quite remarkable, you know, when the Vietnamese community came to Australia, there were a lot of people who were a bit suspect. There were a lot of people who said some particularly unkind and unfriendly things. I wasn't one of them, I'm very pleased to say. But the Vietnamese community, wherever it has gone, whether it be up in Sydney, down here, Footscray, Richmond, Springvale, St Albans, the Vietnamese community has shown by example what it is capable of doing. And it has covered itself in glory. You have covered yourselves in glory in whatever you have done and wherever you have gone in the last 45 years. And now we can say without hesitation that the Vietnamese Australian community is a proud and very healthy part of Australian society, and that is worth celebrating. This museum that we are starting the digging for very shortly. I understand the mayor has his shovel in the boot of his limousine. This is a monument to your trip here, your travelling here, your journey here. That's the word I was looking for. It is an honour to see this come up as it has been, and to be a very, very small part of it. And I congratulate everyone involved in making this happen. I should say that this is also, beyond anything else, it is a symbol of the bond of friendship between Australia and the Vietnamese people. Not the Vietnamese government, but the Vietnamese people. And that is a bond that is founded in blood. The blood of those Australians, the blood of those Vietnamese who fought for freedom, those who died fighting for freedom. This museum will commemorate them, will remember them, will honour them, and will honour the great contribution that the Vietnamese community makes to Australia on a daily basis. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the enormous honour of being with you this afternoon. It is great to see my friends from the Vietnamese community again. I've missed you all. I have to say, it's been this year has not been easy, as we know. But I have missed you all. It's great to see. It's great to see you again in the flesh. And can I wish you all a very, very happy, safe Christmas and the New Year period, and may 2021 be a year that we will celebrate for all the right reasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bernie Finn. And now we would like to invite Ms. Viv Nguyen, Chairperson of the Victorian Multicultural Commission.
Và thưa quý vị, chúng tôi xin được trân trọng mời bà Nguyễn Phượng Vĩ, Chủ tịch Hội đồng Đa văn hóa sự vụ, cũng sẽ có đôi lời gửi đến quý vị. Xin quý vị chào đón bà bằng một tràng pháo tay.
Good afternoon. I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are gathered here and pay my respect to their elders past and present. To Phong, the chairperson for the Vietnamese Museum Australia, and your executive members, Bruce Mildenhall, Andrew Doe, David Marlowe, Tu Anh Nguyen, Kim Bui, and Kevin Tran. To Bon, who has unfortunately left early, to state members for Victoria, Neil Angus, Bernie Finn, Natalie Suleiman, and Tin Kieu. To all of the councillors from Maribyrnong and Greenbank and everywhere else, to all of the distinguished guests. Đặc biệt, xin gửi lời chào đến bên Hội Cựu Quân nhân Quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa, tất cả những quý vị bên Hội Thương gia Footscray và tất cả các vùng. Gửi lời chào đến Ban Quản trị Viện Bảo tàng cũng như tất cả quý vị trong Ban Quản trị. Gửi lời để chào mừng đến các quý vị cao niên, Hội Phụ nữ và tất cả quý vị. Cũng xin chân thành gửi lời chào mừng đến những quý vị mà Phượng Vĩ đã có dịp đóng góp tham dự rất nhiều trong dự án Viện Bảo tàng và trong thời gian qua, như anh Dũng Lê, anh Bình Lê, anh Lâm Hữu Lộc, bác sĩ Thái Thị Thu Nguyệt, chú Thím Thái, cô Nhung, anh chị Thủy Trung và tất cả những quý vị trong cộng đồng người Việt tự do tiểu bang Victoria. I just want to pay the tribute to all of the people who I've had the opportunity to work alongside you for so many years in bringing the Vietnamese Museum project together. There are things we've done, there are things we will need to continue to do, and I hope and I wish that we can all lend our efforts together to make this an actual reality in the near future. Kính thưa quý vị, hồi lúc nãy ông Chủ tịch Cộng đồng Người Việt Tự do Liên bang và Tiểu bang cũng có nói là thiên thời, địa lợi, nhân hòa. Chúng ta thì Phượng Vĩ cũng chỉ thêm một điều nữa là mưu sự tại nhân, thành sự tại thiên. Tuy nhiên đối với cộng đồng chúng ta tại đây, tất cả những việc đã thành tựu được tới ngày hôm nay có thể là mưu sự tại thiên và phần còn lại là tại nhân. Kính mong chúng ta tất cả hỗ trợ đóng góp cho dự án này. Xin chân thành cảm ơn tất cả quý vị.
Thank you, Ms. Viv Nguyen. Now please welcome Dr. Tin Kieu MP, MLC for the South Eastern Metropolitan Region.
Và bây giờ chúng tôi xin trân trọng kính mời tiến sĩ Kiều Tiến Dũng, dân biểu khu vực miền Đông Nam, cũng sẽ đôi lời gửi đến quý vị. Xin quý vị chào đón ông bằng một tràng pháo tay.
Thank you for the warm welcome. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land we are gathering here today and pay respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. I also would like to acknowledge all the dignitaries, particularly the Mayor of Maribyrnong, Mr. Michael Clark, and all the councillors, and also congratulating you for the last election not too long ago. I also would like to acknowledge all my parliamentary colleagues, and now we have Natalie Suleiman, Mr. Bernie Finn, just across the aisle from us in the parliament, and of course Mr. Neil Angus for being here today. Some people had to leave a bit early, but I'm so grateful for them to make the time to be here with us today. I'm so honored and proud to be here today for this particularly historic event for a very monumental project of building the Vietnamese Museum in Australia. I'm honored because this is the biggest project in terms of Vietnamese museum, not just only in Australia, but arguably could be the biggest one all over the world among the Vietnamese diaspora elsewhere outside Vietnam. I am so proud on two fronts. The first one, I acknowledge that there is some contribution from the federal government towards the building and the funding of this. I'm so grateful for that. But I'm also proud to be a member of the Andrews Labour government for supporting this project for the many years and also contributing significantly to the building. And also not just to the Vietnamese, but also to the multiculturalism in Victoria. We are so proud of that. We are so successful because of that. And we are looking forward to better things to come in the future. And talking about the Vietnamese community, I'm also so proud of being a member of the Vietnamese community. As with many people who came here, I also was a boat person, left Vietnam on the boat, came to a camp in Malaysia, and then given passage to Australia. And I'm so grateful for that. And as you have heard from Miss Kuklam, a former refugee and now the councillor of Maribyrnong, has expressed her motivation and driving force behind all the work that people do, and I'm sure that is true for many people in the community, including myself. The museum is a very fitting contribution from the Vietnamese community since we've been here 45 years ago. And this is the 45th anniversary, and I have to say that we have been planning and lobbying the minister, first Richard Wynne, the former Minister for Multiculturals, and then now the present Minister, Ms. Ross Spence, to have a 45th anniversary reception for our community in the Parliament. And sadly, that was not realized because of the COVID pandemic. This museum is also important because it will have some exhibitions and personal stories of people who left Vietnam and came to this country and this state in particular. Everyone has a story to tell. And not only that, it also has a history of the people who came here from Vietnam, part of which is now Australians. And such a institution will be not only a learning place for, but also a sharing place with the wider community about our culture, our history, and particularly history is so very important to be preserved and to be told in the truth, particularly because the history is now being rewritten and also distorted by the government in Vietnam. And so we recognize and commemorate on the suffering, the sacrifices, and the lives lost on the way for freedom through the jungles on the high seas. So without, I think I have got over my 5 minutes, so I will not be able to say much in Vietnamese, but let me conclude by thanking, first of all, the VMA, board of the VMA, and also the VMA executive team, and also the whole community have been relentlessly behind this project. It's not overnight. It has been over 20 years in the making. And now we can look forward to the day that this become a reality, and we can then look for better contribution from the Vietnamese, and not only the Vietnamese, but from all the ethnic communities that have contributing so much to the vibrancy, the colorfulness, and the prosperity of our state. And lastly, Christmas is coming. Some of us are Christians, so I wish you a Merry Christmas. For others, I wish you a joyful festive season and Happy New Year. In 2021, we can definitely look forward for a better time, back to the future, a future that has been delayed and disrupted by the pandemic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Tiên Kiều. Now, please welcome Mr. Định Nguyễn, President of the Vietnamese Veterans Association in Victoria.
Và bây giờ chúng tôi xin trân trọng mời ông Nguyễn Định, Chủ tịch Hội cựu quân nhân quân lực Việt Nam Cộng hòa trưởng bang Victoria, cũng sẽ có đôi lời gửi đến quý vị. Xin quý vị chào đón ông bằng một tràng pháo tay.
distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. How to integrate into new cultural society, new environment, how to create new lives facing language barrier and lacking job skill. Those were the challenges for the Vietnamese refugee first generation when they arrived in Australia 45 years ago. As the Vietnamese community settled in new society, those anxieties, worries, sadness were gradually replaced with pride, confidence, and happiness. Then, the members of the communities, as well as leaders of many organizations within the Vietnamese community, including Vietnamese Veteran Association in Victoria, started asking themselves many questions, such as how to help future generations to understand why, when, and how their grandparents, their ancestors arrived in Australia. How to help them to understand the cause or the reason for Vietnam War, in which hundreds of thousands of innocent, ordinary people were killed by Vietnamese communists, and in which hundreds of thousands of soldiers, including 521 Australian soldiers, bravely fought and died to protect South Vietnam. How to help them, the next generation, to carry on the culture, the tradition of the past, and especially how to help them to promote Vietnamese culture, Vietnamese history with the other ethnic community in this unique multicultural society. Through the passion, hard work, and with the invaluable support from Maribyrnong City Council, from the Victoria State Government, from the federal government, the Vietnamese Museum is to be built. And we strongly believe that will help to answer those questions. On behalf of the Vietnamese Veteran Association in Victoria, including the flag raising team, we would like to thank Vietnamese Museum Australia for organizing cultural, historical, and very meaningful land dedication ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Định Nguyễn. We have a few more items left until the end, so we're close.
Thưa quý vị, chúng tôi chỉ còn một vài tiết mục nữa thì sẽ chấm dứt chương trình hôm nay. Cảm ơn là quý vị đã kiên nhẫn tới giờ này trong trời nóng như vậy. Xin quý vị tiếp tục ở lại. Dạ.
Now we would like to welcome Mr. Peter Nguyen, President of the Footscray Asian Business Association.
Và bây giờ chúng tôi xin trân trọng giới thiệu ông Nguyễn Hồng Ký, Chủ tịch Hội Thương gia Footscray, cũng sẽ có đôi lời gửi đến quý vị. Xin quý vị chào đón ông bằng một tràng pháo tay.
Good afternoon, organizer and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodian of the land on which we meet today and pay my respect to the elders past and present. Ladies and gentlemen, today the ceremony acknowledges the endless efforts of everyone in the museum construction team. Apart from their great architectural skill. The construction team managed to buy off this land for $2 million, which is an important achievement that gives 100% owner right to the museum in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vietnamese Cultural Museum is the dream and pride of the Vietnamese community. This Vietnamese Cultural Museum will manifest a very high level in process of integrating and building a multicultural Australian society. In the future, the Vietnamese Museum, along with the Little Saigon Market Precinct and Saigon Welcome Arch, will become a strong economic support platform for the city of Footscray. Ladies and gentlemen, please, all supporter, all sponsor, Maribyrnong City Council, the state government, the federal government, and all the trader and all the members of Vietnamese community keep going to support for this project complete with perfectly. On behalf of Footscray Business Association, I wish you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter Nguyen. Now we would like to welcome Dr. Madeline Pai.
Và bây giờ chúng tôi xin trân trọng kính mời bác sĩ Thái Thị Thu Nguyệt cũng sẽ có đôi lời gửi đến quý vị trong hôm nay. Và bác sĩ Thái Thị Thu Nguyệt cũng là một bác sĩ gia đình tại vùng Footscray này của chúng ta. Xin quý vị chào đón bà bằng một tràng pháo tay.
The representative for Prime Minister, federal government, Victorian government, all the representatives for Parliament, association, the leaders and people working in Vietnamese community, and all fellow friends and people, Vietnamese people. I'm very honored to be here today as a member of the community to talking about my feeling about this heroic event. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vietnamese Museum in Australia has long been a goal for our Vietnamese community in Australia and will be achieved thanks to the contributions and support from the federal and state government. With deep gratitude and appreciation to Australians for all what you do for our community for the last 45 years and supporting us on this project as well. The investments you have made in our community by donating your time, your talent and treasure have accomplished so much. We appreciate the contributions from the leaders and associates of the Vietnamese community who have made and continue to make exceptional work to create a museum that our community is proud of. The Vietnamese was said to have a patriotic tradition of their ancestors through the millennia. They never want to leave their country, but after 1975, they were forced to leave the country for freedom. They were deeply emotional and suffering.
They were suffering from so many trauma during the journey on the sea, in the mountains. And 500,000 people died and could not reach to the free land. Until now, so many graves of refugee people were found in Southeast Asia mountains. This museum can keep all the Vietnamese culture and heroic history of 4,000 years. The small country living nearby a big country who always want to invade us. Even we were able to escape from that 1,000 years of invasion. The Vietnamese culture expresses the love and humanity. Our Vietnamese ancestors always taught us to love and support each other, value of the family bond and community unity. The patriotic tradition is very important as well. Whatever contained in the museum are alive facts, which help our young generation and everyone to see what is the darkness and what is compassion and humanity to create a better future society. This museum is also dedicated to creating a memorial to honor the kindness and support of the Australian people and in recognition of the settlement of Vietnamese refugees here in Australia. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Madeline Thai. And now we would like to invite the Women's Association of the Vietnamese Community in Australia Victorian Chapter to perform a song Lá Cờ Thiên, which can be roughly translated to Sacred Yellow Flag.
Xin kính thưa cùng tất cả quý vị, nhóm hát Hội Phụ nữ Cộng đồng Người Việt Tự do Victoria sẽ gửi đến quý vị bài hát Lá Cờ Thiên. Đối với chúng tôi, lá cờ vàng là lá cờ rất linh thiêng, và ngày hôm nay trong lễ cáo tổ này chúng tôi đã chọn bài hát Lá Cờ Thiên để gửi đến tất cả quý vị. Xin mời tất cả quý vị cùng thưởng thức. Và xin cho một tràng pháo tay để khuyến khích chúng tôi.
Social distancing. Lên nữa. Social distancing. Rồi, chào là phải được.
Máu anh hùng vẫn đổ trên quê hương, vì cờ thiêng mà anh chiến đấu, vì tự do mà anh không sợ bao gian nan đầy gian khổ, đường mặt và mồ hôi cho cây rừng mãi đứng thẳng, dòng xưa mẹ đong đầy ngọn cờ vàng phất phới bay. Ta dân Việt với Cộng sản đấu tranh, hùng nuôi tri ân cờ dân tộc. Màu vàng da Việt Nam, màu vàng của tự do. Ta người Việt lưu vong, ta người Việt tị nạn, ta dân Việt muôn đời. Tổ quốc ơi, quê hương ơi, cờ vàng ơi, ngày Việt Nam ơi. Lá cờ vàng bốn biển bay tung bay, hồn linh thiêng hồn bất khuất, hồn ông cha hồn ông Sơn Hà. Ta theo gương ta theo cờ, vì nước và vì dân, cho muôn đời dòng dân Việt. Dòng sông mẹ dân chào, một triệu người cùng đứng lên. Máu anh hùng vẫn đổ trên quê hương, vì cờ thiên mà anh chiến đấu, vì tự do mà anh không sợ. Bao gian nan đầy gian khổ, nước mắt và mồ hôi, cho cây rừng mai lưng thẳng. Dòng sông mẹ đông đầy, ngọn cờ vàng vẫn phơi bay. Ta dân Việt với không sợ đấu tranh, anh hùng nuôi chi lớn, luôn bảo vệ quê hương tất cả cờ dân tộc. Màu vàng da Việt Nam, màu vàng của tự do. Ta người Việt lưu vong, ta người Việt tị nạn, ta dân Việt muôn đời. Tổ quốc ơi, quê hương ơi, cờ vàng ơi, ngày Việt Nam ơi. Là cờ vàng bốn biển bay tung bay, hồn linh thiêng hồn bất khuất, hồn ông cha hồn ông Sơn Hà. Ta theo gương ta theo cờ, vì nước và vì dân, cho muôn đời dòng dân Việt. Dòng sông mẹ dân chào, muôn triệu người cùng đứng lên. Ta dân Việt với không sợ đấu tranh, anh hùng nuôi chi lớn, luôn bảo vệ quê hương tất cả cờ dân tộc. Màu vàng da Việt Nam, màu vàng của tự do. Ta người Việt lưu vong, ta người Việt tị nạn, ta dân Việt muôn đời. Tổ quốc ơi, quê hương ơi, cờ vàng ơi, ngày Việt Nam ơi. Tổ quốc ơi, quê hương ơi, cờ vàng ơi, ngày Việt Nam ơi. Tổ quốc ơi, quê hương ơi, cờ vàng ơi, ngày Việt Nam ơi.
Thank you for the performance. And this is the final part of today's event. We will have a presentation of some certificates of appreciation, which will be led by some board members of the Vietnamese Museum Australia, Mr. Phong Nguyen, Mr. Bruce Mildenhall, and Ms. Tu Anh.
Kính thưa quý vị, và phần cuối cùng trong chương trình ngày hôm nay, chúng tôi xin dành đặc biệt đến việc trao những tờ tri ân đến những quý vị đã đóng góp cho Viện Bảo tàng với một số tiền lớn. Chúng tôi xin được mời ông Phong Nguyễn, ông Bruce Mildenhall và bà Tú Anh Nguyễn là những thành viên của ban quản trị xin lên đây để chúng ta lần lượt trao giải cho 18 người đã đóng góp lớn trong việc xây dựng Viện Bảo tàng. Xin được cảm ơn tất cả quý vị.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it is very emotional for me to be here today to, on behalf of the board of the museum and on behalf of all of you, especially Australian and Vietnamese, to thank these individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, in the past year or so now, since the project started, we have received big and small donations. And we thank you for every single cent, every single dollar. And I'm urging you, the journey is still a long way, and we still need all your helps and all your contribution, and we will be grateful for big and small. So, but today we must say we would like to acknowledge 18 members of our communities who have contributed significantly. I'm not going to say how significant, but they have. Some of them are one of our eldest members in our community. Some of them are our MPs. Some of them are our, even members and also people from business. Ladies and gentlemen, today, when I read out their names, would you please welcome them here for us to present them with a certificate of appreciation. And as I said, we were looking forward to receiving further support from all of you. As I said, the road ahead is very long and very difficult, but we believe with all our determination, we'll make it. Number one, kính mời bác Nguyễn Đức Long, Mr. Nguyễn Đức Long, one of our oldest members in our community. Mr. Nguyễn Sĩ Chương, anh Nguyễn Sĩ Chương, would you please come up? Dr. Kiều Tiến Dũng, Miss Phượng Vĩ, Viv Nguyễn, could you please come up here to receive our appreciation? Miss J.D. Ho, J.D. Ho, Dr. Đinh Hiếu and Dr. Hoàng Trang, if you are here, Miss Nguyễn Thị Hồng Nhung, Dr. Thái Thị Thu Nguyệt, Mr. and Mrs. Steve Lowe, one of our veterans. Could you please come up here for us to say thank you? Mr. Phan Tường, cụ Phan Tường, cụ Phan Tường, Mr. Nguyễn Thanh Trung, Mr. Phan Thị Ngọc Thủy, Mrs. and Mrs. Lê Hùng and Thủy, Mr. and Mrs. Trần Ngọc Thành và Tiên, chị Tiên, Rules, a representative from Rules and Oil Sheet Metal Proprietary Limited, Mr. Don Bùi Quang, Dr. Nicholas and Viv Chui, and last but not least, Ms. Nguyễn Ngọc Diệp. Would you please present yourself here for us to present you with, and I'm realizing that number of you, because of such a long ceremony, couldn't be here with us, but we acknowledge your significant contribution nevertheless. Thank you. And may I ask, Bruce is our deputy chairperson of the museum to present some of the certificates, and of course Tu Anh is a board member of our museum to present some of the certificate, please. Mr. Đức Long, Sĩ Chương, anh Chương, bên kia, Dr. Kiều Tiến Dũng, Nguyễn Thanh Trung, yes, thank JD Ho is not here. Thank you. Mrs. Hồng Nhung, chị Hồng Nhung có đây không ạ? Yes. Steve Lowe, thank you so much, Steve Lowe. You have been wonderful supporter, and chị, thank you. Chị Thủy đâu ạ? Chị Thủy Trung ạ. Kiếm cụ Phan, xin lỗi, chào bác, con mời bác. Chị Được chưa? Nó có sự. Phượng Vĩ phải đi rồi ạ. Thì Phượng Vĩ không có đây ạ. Yes, Viv is not here. Thank you. Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, would you join me in a very, very big round of applause and to thank all the significant members of our community who have contributed significantly to our project. Thank you very much once and for all. Thank you very much for coming here, and we're looking forward to celebrate this museum with you. Dạ, con xin được kính chào toàn thể quý vị. Thank you. Yep. Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, wow, I would like to say the final thank you to, on behalf of the organizing committee. We apologize, Natalie Solomon. I haven't announced you in the first instant. We apologize, but we would like to thank all, first and foremost, all our government's representative, opposition representative, the council's representative, the mayor and the deputy mayors, and all the organization, particularly the Vietnamese veterans. They have done significant job to contribute to the solemnity of our today's organized ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, we also acknowledge that our architectural teams, concepts, and all the friends who coming here, they are the silent heroes. Ladies and gentlemen, you can admire their architectural skills, and we're looking forward very much to celebrate this landmark with them when we build it. Ladies and gentlemen, we also acknowledge all of our wonderful ladies from the Hội Phụ Nữ Cộng đồng, and also of course the member of the board of the Vietnamese Museum holding all the members for being here with us, all our volunteers. Thuy Bảo, you sang very well together with Hội Phụ Nữ. We thank you, and we would like to thank all our volunteers. And without your help today, we cannot be as successful as we are. And also, we also thank the residents for their understanding. Some of them have sacrificed their car spaces today. And we also thank Tân Thanh Điện Tử on Newton Hi-Fi Rector Vision for their wonderful neighborhood, and they have been wonderful supporting to us. We thank you for your support as well. So ladies and gentlemen, please share with us some of the food that we have prepared, and we apologize for the lengthy programs, but as you know, we got so many friends and VIP who would like to share their congratulations with us, so we appreciate that. So ladies and gentlemen, enjoy with us for some photo sessions, and have a wonderful weekend. So once again, thank you very much indeed, and all our photographers, all our media as well. Yeah, thank you.
Hang on, I'm gonna wear this one. Can I get a zoo gun run for me? Zoo hold run for me too.
Yep.
Yes.
Head on.
Yep. Head on. Còn ai nữa đâu? Ai có chụp hình ảnh với mình chị? Em ba người đứng. Where are we? Let's see. Can we get the back please as well? The back. Let's get the back. Thấy hết không? Hay quá.
Rồi đứng đó. Nào, đừng có quay tay nữa.
Chưa ngã trang hết mà.
Để cái chụp lại rồi nhanh lên.
Chụp đi. Cái Hà lẹ lên. Cái Hà vô giữa nè. Qua bên đây với em nè. Qua bên đây nè. Rồi nha, dọc đây nha.
Rồi 1, 2, 3.